In a bright green jungle filled with tall trees and singing birds, there lived a little elephant named Bitu. Bitu had big floppy ears, tiny tusks, and the most curious brown eyes you've ever seen. He loved chasing butterflies, playing with his monkey friends, and exploring the jungle. But there was one thing Bitu did not love: water. Every day, the other elephants splashed happily in the river. They sprayed water high into the air and laughed loudly under the sunshine. But Bitu stayed far away. "The river is too deep, too splashy, too scary," he would whisper to himself. The animals didn't understand. "You're an elephant," laughed Miko the monkey. "Elephants love water." But Bitu wasn't so sure. One summer afternoon, the jungle grew hotter than ever before. The sun blazed down. The air felt heavy. The animals were tired and thirsty. The river sparkled like silver in the distance. All the elephants walked toward it. Bitu followed, slowly, nervously. He stood at the edge of the water. His heart began to pound. What if I slip? What if I sink? So he stepped back. Just then, a tiny yellow bird named Chinu fluttered down beside him. "Bitu," she chirped softly, "my nest is in that tree near the river. The branch is too low and the water is rising. I can't fix it alone." Bitu looked at the tree. He wanted to help, but helping meant stepping into the water. "I'm scared," he whispered. Chinu smiled gently. "Being scared is okay," she said, "but sometimes helping someone is more important than fear." Bitu took a deep breath. Slowly, he placed one foot into the river. Splash! He froze, but nothing bad happened. The water felt cool, gentle, safe. He placed another foot. Splash! With each step, his fear became smaller and his courage grew bigger. Soon, Bitu reached the tree. With his strong trunk, he carefully lifted the low branch. Chinu quickly fixed her nest. "You did it," she chirped happily. Just then, a playful wave splashed against Bitu. He blinked, and then he laughed. The water wasn't scary, it was fun. Bitu lifted his trunk and sprayed water high into the sky. The elephants cheered. "Welcome to the river, Bitu." For the first time, Bitu didn't feel afraid. He felt brave. Because courage doesn't mean you aren't scared. It means you try anyway. From that day on, Bitu loved the river. But more importantly, he learned something very special. Fear often looks bigger than it really is. And sometimes, all it takes is one brave step. In a small, colorful village surrounded by green hills, there lived a sweet little girl named Tara. Tara loved drawing more than anything in the world. She didn't have fancy colors or expensive sketchbooks. All she had were a few broken crayons and an old paintbrush. But Tara had something very special, a big imagination and a kind heart. She drew on old newspapers, on scraps of paper, and sometimes even on the mud walls outside her house. Her dream was simple. One day, she would paint something so beautiful that it would make everyone smile. One evening, as the sun was setting and the sky turned orange and pink, Tara was walking near the old banyan tree at the edge of the village. Suddenly, she noticed something glowing under the tree roots. It was a small wooden box. Curious, Tara opened it slowly. Inside the box lay a beautiful golden paintbrush. The moment she touched it, a soft whisper floated through the air. "Whatever you paint with love will come alive." Tara blinked in surprise. "Come alive? That can't be true," she whispered. She hurried home and decided to test it. On the ground, she carefully painted a tiny butterfly. As she finished the last stroke, the butterfly's wings began to move. It lifted gently off the ground and flew into the sky. Tara gasped. "It's magic!" The next morning, Tara went to the village park. The park was dry and dusty, with no flowers at all. She dipped the golden brush into bright colors and began painting flowers in the air. Suddenly, real flowers bloomed everywhere. Red, yellow, pink, and blue flowers covered the park. Children came running, laughing, and playing among the blossoms. Tara felt a warm glow in her heart. Making others happy felt even better than magic. One night, Tara saw her elderly neighbor, Dottie Mira, sitting outside her house looking sad. "Why are you upset?" Tara asked gently. Dottie sighed. "I wish I had a cow. Fresh milk would make my life easier." That night, under the soft moonlight, Tara quietly painted a gentle white cow in Dottie's courtyard. Slowly, the painted cow became real. Dottie's eyes filled with tears of joy. She hugged Tara tightly. But not everyone in the village was kind. The richest merchant, Raghav, heard about the magical brush. His heart filled with greed. One night, he secretly stole it. In his large house, he painted piles of gold coins and shining jewels. For a moment, they glittered brightly, but suddenly, the gold began to crumble. It turned into gray dust and disappeared. The glow of the brush faded. Raghav stared in shock. He realized something important. Magic does not work with greed. The next morning, ashamed, he returned the brush to Tara. "I am sorry," he said softly. "I was wrong." Tara smiled kindly. "Real magic lives in a good heart," she replied. From that day on, Raghav used his real wealth to repair the village school and build a small clinic. Years passed. The village became more beautiful than ever. Flowers bloomed in every corner. Children laughed freely. Kindness filled the air. And whenever someone asked Tara, "Where did you find that magical paintbrush?" she would smile and say, "The real magic isn't in the brush. It's in the love you share with others." Moral: true magic lies in kindness, love, and helping others. Once upon a time, there was a happy little town where the sun smiled brightly every morning. In this town lived a little child called the Little Dreamer, with curious eyes and a heart full of hope. Birds sang sweet songs, and the trees danced gently with the breeze. The little dreamer looked up and said, "I want to learn and I want to grow." Soon the little dreamer met a slow and friendly snail. The snail smiled and said, "I want to learn and I want to grow." Soon the little dreamer met a slow and friendly snail. The snail smiled and said, "I want to learn and I want to grow." Soon the little dreamer met a slow and friendly snail. The snail smiled and said, "I want to learn and I want to grow." Soon the little dreamer met a slow and friendly snail. Soon the little dreamer met a slow and friendly snail. The snail smiled and said, "I want to learn and I want to grow." Soon the little dreamer met a slow and friendly snail. The snail smiled and said, "Move slowly if you must, but never stop." A little farther ahead, the dreamer saw ants working together as a team. The dreamer learned that working together makes hard things easy. By the river, a shiny fish jumped happily in the water. The fish said kindly, "Always believe in yourself." As the sun began to set, the little dreamer walked quietly and thought deeply. At night, the stars filled the sky with sparkling light. The little dreamer whispered, "I will be kind, brave, and never give up." Because Every big dream begins with small steps and a believing heart. In a small, colorful town surrounded by rolling green hills, lived a cheerful little boy named Arav. He wasn't the tallest boy in school. He wasn't the fastest runner either. But Arav had something very special. He collected smiles. Not in a jar, not in a box. He collected them in his heart. Every morning before school, Arav would stand in front of his mirror, fix his little blue backpack, smile at himself, and say, "Today I will collect 5 smiles." And with that promise, his adventure would begin. On his way to school one day, he saw an old gardener struggling to carry a heavy watering can. The man looked tired. Without thinking twice, Arav ran over. "Can I help you?" The gardener's face slowly brightened, and when he smiled, that was smile number 1. At school, Arav noticed Mira sitting quietly at her desk. Her crayons were missing. Her drawing paper was blank. Her eyes looked sad. Without saying a word, Arav slid his crayon box toward her. Mira looked up in surprise, and then she smiled. That was smile number 2. During lunch break, a new boy named Kabir accidentally dropped his tiffin. Food spilled everywhere. Some children giggled, but Arav didn't laugh. He knelt down, helped clean up, and shared half of his lunch. Kabir looked nervous at first, then grateful. And when he smiled, that was smile number 3. After school, Arav noticed his mother looked tired. So quietly, without being asked, he cleaned his room. He set the dinner table. When his mother saw what he had done, her eyes filled with warmth. She hugged him tightly. That was smile number 4. On his way home, Arav heard a tiny whimper. A small puppy was stuck near a fence. Carefully, gently, Arav freed the little pup. The puppy wagged its tail happily, and there it was, smile number 5. That night, as Arav slept peacefully, the moonlight shone through his window, and if you listened very carefully, it almost felt like the moon was whispering, "When you give smiles, you make the world brighter." The next morning, something magical happened. The gardener waved at him happily. Mira saved him a seat in class. Kabir shared his snack first. The puppy waited near his gate. Arav realized something important. Smiles are like seeds. When you plant them with kindness, they grow, and somehow they always come back to you. From that day on, Arav didn't just collect smiles, he planted them everywhere, and his small town, it became just a little brighter because one little boy decided to be kind. Remember, you don't need superpowers to change the world. Sometimes, all you need is a smile.